Hey, I'm Chris. This is CK Woodworks. Welcome to my shop. Thank you for joining me. Today, I'm going to show you how I made this brick and mortar end grain cutting board. Every woodworker has to make an end grain cutting board. It's the rules. So I've been at this a while. I finally got around to making mine. Here it is. This was an awesome project. I had a really good time. So hang around. I'm going to show you how I did it. So I'm going to be using Paduke for this. And it is straight up about the color of this wood. I absolutely love it, and I think it's going to be perfect for that brick pattern. And then for the mortar on the brick, I'm going to be using just straight up maple. First thing I need to do is cut this stuff down. I'm going to cut it down into strips and then glue those up to double up the height. The vertical height of the board is going to be the width when I glue it up in the end. So it's at about 3/4 now. I want to make it about 1.5 inches, so I'm going to double these up. So I've got a problem here. I have screwed up. You see what I did? Well, just hang on a minute. You'll get to see the moment that I realized it. I'm not really worried about it blending in. Oh crap.
What? Is it starting to tear up the wood?
No, I screwed up. So in my haste, I was only supposed to be gluing up the pairs, but somehow I got distracted and glued up the whole thing as if I was making one big panel. It just so happened for this project, I'm using Titebond 3. Titebond 3 is supposed to be much more moisture resistant. And yeah, this project's gonna eventually be exposed to moisture. What normally is a drawback about Titebond 3 in this case was my saving grace. It has a much longer setup time than the Titebond 2. I was able to pull the whole thing apart, clean off a lot of the excess glue. I'm gonna let it sit overnight and then pull it apart tomorrow and see what happens. Now I'm gonna run each piece through the joiner on 2 sides. And then I'll finish off the other 2 sides on the table saw. Now it's time to start working on the maple strips that are going to form the mortar. I use the planer to get the maple down to its final thickness of about 1/4 inch. Time to start gluing the strips together, and yes, this time I stopped to make sure I'm gluing it up the right way. I need to trim just a little bit off the edge so that this will fit back through my planer. Square up one end and then I start cutting it into 1.5 inch wide strips. The thing to remember is the width of these strips is going to be the height of the cutting board. So as I was cutting out the strips of Paduke, you might have noticed that one strip was significantly thinner than the others. I thought it'd be easier to show you this rather than try to explain it to you. To get that brick pattern, I'm going to have to take one side, turn it around, and offset it. By cutting that one piece thinner on the end, I now have a whole lot less waste to cut off. If that was a full brick, I would have to cut off a whole lot more. So that's the reason for that. And now with it planed down and the strips turned on end and offset like they're going to be in the end, you can really start to see this coming together. Now I've just got to cut out some more maple strips to go in the middle and then glue this up, plane it down, and cut it up. We're almost there, and I'm really happy with the way this is turning out. So here it is, all glued up. First thing, I've got to trim it down to 12 inches to fit through my planer. The problem here is trying to run this up against the straight edge of the fence. Easy solution. I'm going to take a known straight edge and just nail it on there. Make sure my nails go through the waste that I'm going to cut off, and you'll never know the difference. So yeah, easy fix to that one. After I cut off all this waste, I'm going to be running it through the planer. Here's the thing, you're typically not supposed to run end grain through a planer. You should be using a drum sander, which I don't have because I don't have that kind of money. The biggest concern with running end grain through a planer is that you're going to get a whole bunch of tear out. To circumvent that, I've attached an extra strip to the end of it so that if a bunch of the end grain fiber is blowing out, they're going to blow out of this extra piece and not the part I want to keep. So after I cut this up, I let it sit on the table for a day or two. I just got busy with life, and I come back out and it's got a very significant rock to it. It warped. Not sure why, but that's easy enough. I'll just have to run it back through the planer a couple times. I will glue it down to a flat sheet of MDF, stabilize it with a couple wedges and some hot glue, run it through, get one side cleaned up, flip it over, clean the other, and it should be perfectly true and straight. The other thing I want to talk about real quick before I do that is this edge right here. Remember how I was talking about just a minute ago, gluing on the extra piece to the end because of tear out? Well, it happened exactly like I said it would. That paid off for me. Now that I'm through with that little I told you so moment, I'm going to get back to work. Cut down that last little bit of excess, and then I'm going to use the biggest round over bit I have to round over all the edges. A quick little bit of sanding, and then it's ready for me to finally start oiling the board. This is where it gets exciting because the grain really starts popping through. So there it is, all said and done. And I couldn't be happier with this project. It turned out really great. If you like this video, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up. I got more videos coming in the works. If you want to be able to see those, make sure you're subscribed. Again, thank you for watching.